Hey YouTube, welcome back to yet another gun review. Got a really cool one here today. Well, I say that on every video, but I just think these things are really cool, so that's why I do say that. We've got the Walther P1. Now, this is a variant of the Walther P38, and I'll tell you in a little bit why it's called a P1 and not a P38. It was designed, implemented, and used by Germany, specifically Nazi Germany, because it was 1938 when this pistol was designed. But it's not a Nazi gun. It's just a Walther P38. It's a good handgun. Um, they used the overall design from 1938, and Germany used it until about the early 90s when it was replaced. Some say late 80s. I say early 90s because the transition took a while. But there's still militaries and police forces like the South African police still use this as their primary sidearm, which is pretty fascinating. I'm sure a lot of them buy their own stuff, but it was kind of interesting to see that. Um, yeah, so it's got a pretty impressive service life on it. Now, the difference between a P1 and a P38, and why I say the overall length is since 1938, is because in 1963 they came out with the design that is the same freaking gun as the P38, but it has an aluminum alloy frame that makes it lighter. That is it. So when I say P38 or P1, same gun, different weight. That's it. These are all interchangeable parts with a Walther P38. There were some post-war P38s, and what happened was, like you can see on this one, right? You've got the Walther banner, and then P1 cal 9mm, 9 of 76. So what happened was like after World War II, from about 1945 till 1957, Germany didn't produce any more pistols or anything, and they just used the P-38s that were produced during World War II. In 1957 or thereabouts, they decided to start up manufacturing the P-38 pistol again. So they had the post-war plastic grips like this on their P-38s, but they were marked P-38 instead of P-1. So it would be the Walther banner, and then P-38 cal 9mm, and then a date between 1957 and 63. So in 63, the P1 is literally a P38 that's got the lighter frame. So that's why there's so much confusion. And apparently the P1s aren't as collectible, which because they don't have Nazi markings on them. Fine by me. They're not as expensive as a World War II P38 either, which means they're great to buy as a shooter. You got the safety up here, which is pretty cool. It's a decent safety. If you put it on fire, you can cock the hammer, which is no problem. It's got a decocker on it, like most European firearms. Um, the markings are just really crisp, and they're the typical German style. I'm glad that the camera's picking them up. The Walther banner, and then it's got the serial number on the frame, Bundeswehr, BW. The aluminum alloy frames apparently had a hexagonal bolt for reinforcement right here. I don't know if mine's just that tiny little one right there, but it is what it is. And you've got the safety, all that stuff, and on the other side, you've just got the import markings that are required. Germany, this is a PW Arms import. So that's pretty cool. Thought that was neat. We'll drop the magazine. Magazine holds 8 rounds of 9x19mm Luger ammo. This is 124 grain stuff. This particular gun loves this stuff. And somebody was asking me on another video about what kind of magazines you should get for your Walther P1. This is it right here. As soon as this focuses, you can see the marking. I'm sure you can see it a little bit. Got to kind of steady myself. Yep. The Walther magazines are the only magazines that I recommend for a Walther P1. Even a World War II P38, if you don't want to bring your collectible magazines out to the range to run the potential of getting lost or damaged, get these. They're like 20 to 30 bucks a piece. They're built like a brick shithouse. They're good to go. Um, they're mainly going to be secondary market. There are some people that have them on eBay and stuff, which is secondary market. I don't know of any place that's got any more of these surplus mags. There's got to be a million of these floating around the earth, so I don't understand why there's not more on the U.S. surplus market, as it's a pretty popular pistol. A lot of veteran bringbacks for the P38s, and a lot of these were imported by Century a few years ago, and PW Arms and other places. So what I really like about this gun too is the sights on there. They're really big, and this particular person, they're not night sights. It's just like some whiteout. I think he saw a Glock or something and then painted them on there like that because there's a little dot on the front sight too. So that's what looking down the sight of a P38 or P1 looks like. They're actually a lot bigger than they look in video games. They look really small on video games and really compact. They're really not. They've got some size to them, which makes it really easy to acquire your target. So as you can kind of see, if it'll focus, they're actually fairly big. Front sight posts. So yeah, very interesting. What we're gonna do now is we're just gonna take this thing apart. They're pretty easy to do, but if it's your first time, you're gonna probably have some issues. So the first thing you do is go ahead and drop your magazine, and then ensure that your weapon is clear, magazine well is clear, chamber's clear. Cool. So you decock this. You're gonna place your weapon on safe. Push the slide to the rear, and using the slide release right there, you're gonna lock it into place. Then you're gonna take the disassembly catch and rotate it forward to where it stops. You got to make sure your safety's on, or this part won't work. Then you release the magazine release, and your slide comes off like that. So now your frame, which is super lightweight, is going to just get set to the side because you're done. You can just clean that on its own. So now you've got the barrel and the slide assembly. To get the barrel out, because it's not going to come out unless you pull up on this piece right here. So once again, when this is flat, the barrel's not going to come out. You have to pull it, and then you see how that pops up. So you can either just pull on it, tug on it, or you can physically pull this up like that. And then the barrel will come out, and your weapon is field stripped. Going any further can result in losing little pieces, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to show you how to field strip it. So you've got your magazine, your slide, your barrel, and your frame. So that's what it field strips down to. You can see the barrel. It's probably got some shit in it, but we'll try and get this camera to focus, show you the rifling and stuff. No, it ain't gonna cooperate. God, I'm shaky. Weird. Anyway, so yeah, that's how you disassemble a Walther P38 or P1. Now to get it back together, it's pretty easy. You just do the reverse. You just slide this in. You can see the shape is meant to fit because it's got the little fins on it. So it's pretty easy to figure out. If it doesn't go in easily, you're probably not doing it right. So make sure that's flat. Take it, put it back onto your slide like any other gun. Now, this is the part that screwed me up a lot when I first started putting this thing back together. This damn thing needs to be pushed down before you push the slide back, and make sure this piece stays pushed up. Otherwise, it won't go into the slide. So you're then going to take it, pull it all the way back to the rear like that. Take your disassembly catch, disengage it, and then you can ride the slide forward if you're not comfortable with it. But I knew it was going to be okay. So then do a functions check. Make sure your safety works. Not cocking the hammer. Flip it off safe. Double action works. Single action works. Good to go. So yeah, that's pretty much just that. I love this gun. I've always loved the P38 and P1 as a shooter, a collector. It's a great gun. I wish I would have gotten more of them back when they were like $250 to $300 for the P1s, because now they're looking at $400 to $450 per gun, and it's just like, oh god. Yeah, it's a 9mm. It's not worth that much to me, but it's still pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, this gun really is a great piece of weaponry. It was so far ahead of its time in 1938. I can't believe they actually designed this. This is a far superior gun to a lot of other countries' firearms and pistols that they had at the time. It just is mechanically gorgeous, and it worked really well. That's why it had a pretty impressive service length. I love this thing, everything about it, the ergonomics. It's actually a big gun for being a 9mm, which is nice. So it's really comfortable in my ogre hands. You know, it's just the right size. It's very balanced. It's very just user friendly. The grip is fantastic, the way it curves and everything. It's just a very ergonomic, excellent gun that was so far ahead of its time. I mean, just look at that. The engineering on the slide, just making it all smooth like that. It's fantastic. Yeah, so I'll quit gloating over that. I'm kind of a fanboy. I don't really care if it's a World War II P38 with Nazi markings or if it's a P1. They're all good. They're good shooters. I'm accurate and consistent with them. Fantastic. 1 out of 10 on the scale of design and just effectiveness and you know the way I like it. I'd rate this about a 7.5 to 8. It's one of my favorite designs ever, and I think it really paved the way and kind of blazed the trail for a lot of the modern handguns that we have today. Just the design, the concept, and the implementation of all these ideas that radically changed what handguns were after 1938. So yeah, I'd really recommend you getting one of these. Most of these are going to be secondary market, which is like Gun Broker and you know from private parties. I don't know of anybody now who's got them in stock. Southern Ohio Gun, I think, did, but I don't know if you have to call them, and it's just whatever. And they're going to be $400 to $450. I really hope another shipment of these comes in from somewhere because I really want to get some more of them. They're just great little guns to have. The magazines are plentiful. It's 9 millimeter. So yeah, you can get one online. They're harder to get now than they were, or you can just get a World War II P38. Those are everywhere, but they're going to be like 800 to $1,000 for a decent one. So yeah, we'll wrap up the video. I really appreciate you watching. If you're new to the channel, awesome. And if you could like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. And then for everyone who's watching, if you look in the description, you'll see a link to my Patreon, which I would really appreciate if you consider supporting me on there because the more support I get on Patreon, the more cool videos I can make like this. And I can go out and shoot this thing more and fund the ammo and the magazines and other cool stuff. And the more funding we get, the better camera equipment, sound equipment, and that's the better stuff I can help teach you guys with because I know in a lot of areas you're not allowed to have these guns, you know, real guns, and you just kind of want to look at them other than pictures. And that's kind of what I'm trying to be here for, is to share the knowledge, get people interested, and answer questions on things that are kind of uncommon. So yeah, that'd be cool if you consider supporting me on there to make more content and better content. If you don't, that's not a big deal either. I really appreciate you watching anyways, and hopefully you like this video and others in my channel, and we will see you next time.